Welcome to the Tech Blog Writer Podcast, your guide to future tech trends and innovation in a language you understand. Now, over to your host, Neil Hughes.
Welcome back to another episode of the Tech Blog Writer Podcast. Now, one of the things that I love about technology is how startups are using it to remove pain points, friction points in traditional industries that people just put up with at the moment. So today I wanted to talk about hotels. Now, I'm going to go out on a limb here saying that we've all stayed in one. And we've all felt the pain of carrying printed forms that are caught right at the bottom of our hand luggage bags, ringing the front desk to hear nothing back, or returning to our room to find that it's actually being cleaned and we can't go in there yet. But it doesn't have to be that way. Enter Alice. Now, Alice is a disruptive new mobile platform being adopted across hotels in the US. And Alice joins every department of the hotel together with a single operation system. And essentially this allows guests to engage with the hotel through an easy app or just through text messaging. Now, Alice has already been adopted by top-rated boutique and world-renowned hotel groups. And they're also looking to expand into Europe too. There's so many big talking points, such as a virtual concierge on guest phones that helps them find recommended spots nearby. It also has a tagging feature that makes it easy for you to find everything from alfresco dining to a boozy brunch. There are so many opportunities here, and the team at Alice really seem to be leading the way. But enough of me rambling on or getting all excited about tech removing my first world problems. Buckle up and hold on tight, because I'm going to beam your ears all the way to New York City so we can speak with Alex Chasseau, the co-founder and president of Alice, the hospitality operations platform that is transforming hotels. So a massive warm welcome to the show, Alex. Can you tell the listeners a little about who you are and what you do?
Absolutely. So I'm Alex Chasseau. I'm one of the co-founders of Alice. And Alice is a New York-based software company, and we build software for hospitality. So over the last 5 years, we've built the first platform for the hotel industry that connects every department in the hotel so that all staff can work through Alice and guests can communicate with the hotel through different channels. So we've grown now about 5 years. We've got about 1,600 hotels now on the platform. And recently we raised a $26 million round led by Expedia so that we could continue our growth in the industry and expand more into Europe.
So you're based in New York. Are most of your clients based in New York, or are they scattered all around the world?
You know, when you start a business, it's nice to be next to your clients, especially as we were building a lot of product. I mean, we had this big vision. And actually, when we started Alice, we started because we wanted to build a guest app. So we thought at the time we should build a guest app through which consumers could order food and housekeeping and maintenance from hundreds of hotels, similar to how you have Deliveroo in the UK for restaurants and Seamless Web in New York for ordering food. And then we started diving into the industry, and I should have given you some background. My father was in the hotel industry, so his company built the Malmaison, the Hotel du Vin, and the Hotel de Ville brands in the UK. And so I grew up in the industry, and I saw firsthand how hard it is to serve the guest and to communicate internally. And when we started Alice, we wanted to build an app that would let you as a guest order food and services. What we forgot to realize, or we didn't see at the time, was that making the request was not the difficult part. Guests are very able to make requests. Yeah. It was actually servicing them and delivering it that was very difficult for the hotel, because you had no technology that crossed across the entire hotel that staff could use to communicate with each other. And so we switched our focus and started building staff platforms and staff operations, and we started selling primarily to New York. And as we've grown, we've now opened up markets, and we're just hiring now our first teams in Europe as we see this as the next frontier.
Fantastic. Because I think many people believe that businesses are forcing these technological advancements now, but I'm convinced that it's actually the rise in the consumer expectation, who are now using Amazon Alexa and Uber, and they're all driving simplicity. So I've got to ask, how is Alice actually helping to exceed hotel guests' expectations?
I think a few things have changed. I think you're right in maybe the assumption that businesses are forcing technology, but really I don't think the businesses, as opposed to the new competition. Yeah. If you think about a hotel 20 years ago, it was so technologically advanced. You had a TV, you had a phone that would deliver room service to you, you even had Wi-Fi, and now everything around you at home has superseded that. You can order food to your door. You can order a car to your door. You can do all of the things hotels could do themselves through technology at home. And so you're right, consumer expectations have increased. But if you look at what the consumer expectation is, what's changed is how you go about delivering the service. We're still getting in a car from A to B and listening to music or watching a movie, but through Uber, through Netflix, through Spotify, the delivery of that service has changed, where consumers today have control from their phone. You have transparency into the work that's being done for you, and you know when your car is arriving. Now, if you think about that in a hotel, you really don't know what is the work that they're doing for you. You're not sure when someone's cleaning your room, and that's because they don't know when someone's cleaning your room. So what we're giving to hotels is the ability to compete with the types of expectations that guests are bringing with them to the hotel, to give them a way to understand all the work they're doing, to consistently service the guest, never let something slip through the cracks because you call down for towels and then 3 hours later the shift changes and everyone forgets that you're still waiting for the towels, right? And so technology complements it. We're giving the hotels the tools they need to make sure that they exceed the guest expectations and ways to communicate with their millennial guests.
It's funny you mentioned that about the rooms being clean now, because how many times do you come back to a hotel room thinking, I think the room's going to be clean now, just to see the door open?
Praying. And that's just one example, right? Yeah. Or, a guest, only recently we actually had a guest propose to another guest, and we recently released the ability to text message the hotel, and we're watching this happen. And one of the guests started texting the front desk, I'm proposing to my girlfriend in 3 days' time at the hotel, and started coordinating flowers and dinner reservations and what time they're arriving and the room would be ready and all this coordination that was happening. And the front desk were just texting back and forth with the guest and then dispatching out the requests to housekeeping, to F&B, letting the managers know that the VIP is arriving and there's a proposal happening, and just executing this flawless, guest experience that would have been so much more difficult if you had to email and call and ask in person in front of the girlfriend that you're trying to keep the secret from.
Absolutely, that's a fantastic idea. Because
it was awesome.
Thankfully, the days of arriving in a new city, a little disorientated and frantically searching for a hotel confirmation printout in your hand luggage is disappearing now, because we are using our mobile phones for almost everything. So how does the Alice app improve that customer experience from the check-in right to the checkout?
Yeah, it's a great question. So first and foremost, just by giving the hotel staff tools, they're going to exceed the expectations. We very much believe that while service could be a science, hospitality is an art, and that art is delivered by hotel staff. And so we give them the information so that when they're asked to do something, they don't forget. They can see who's in the room. They can see the guest's last name and address the guest by the last name. But on the guest side, which is what you're alluding to, well, we have three options. The first is white label applications. We can provide a hotel with an app through which they can let their consumers interact with them. But the two that we're seeing the most growth in is simple messaging. So you can text the hotel, and texting is on everyone's phone. You don't have to download anything, and you can tell them what time you're arriving and check your room is ready and even check if your room's been cleaned, as you talked about earlier. Yeah. And then the third, which is the most recent, is we opened up our API last year. And so what that enables us to do is to power the guest-facing sides of other businesses. So we have hotel groups that have apps, as you probably know, and those apps do booking and they do loyalty. And now using Alice's API, we can plug in our messaging and our services into them so that they can take the guest all the way through, booking, through check-in, through all the services they're requesting, and ultimately check out. And what's nice about that is you don't have to download Alice. You already have your own guest application for the group, and we're just making it a lot stronger.
Now, you mentioned the proposal thing a few minutes ago, which is a great story. It really highlights what the difference you guys are doing. But are there any other success stories from your clients, and equally customer feedback around how you've exceeded both customer and business expectations, all with the Alice platform?
Absolutely. Just to put things in context, we were doing 10,000 requests a week only 9 months ago, and that's at 100,000 now. So the growth of the platform has been huge. And that's because we're able to give more tools to our existing hotels as well as bringing on more hotels. And so some of the big wins are, if you want to achieve what Alice gives you as a hotel, you have to go out and buy 4 other technologies. You have to go buy concierge software. You have to go buy housekeeping software. You have to go buy text messaging software. The cost of that is very large. So we're able to save our hotels about 90% on setup alone, because you don't have to come and train 4 different technologies and figure out how to integrate them. and then 40% of their actual software fees. So that's just the cost saving side. What we like to focus a lot more on, though, is the actual service side. How are you delivering superior guest experiences? And so we have hotels, across the world that are having their sales team put in the VIP amenities, and the amenities get built by the front, for F&B, and then delivered by housekeeping to the room. And the housekeeper might be in the room and see there's a snag, and then they're going to send a request to maintenance. And then the front desk is going to let everyone know that the VIP has arrived. So it's just this flawless cross-departmental communication that allows the hotel to exceed their guest experience. I think the third most important feature for us is user experience. Have you ever been in a hotel, and have you ever looked over the screen of a computer?
Obviously, I've been in a lot of hotels, but I've never looked over the screen. Why? Is it old software?
Next time look over it. It's old software.
Oh, yeah.
It's software that you would never want to use or never choose to use. And while you're right earlier, you are forced to use Alice. If that's the case, if a hotel buys Alice and you're a staff, you have to use it.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean you want to use it or that you should use it well. And so that's where our user experience comes in. We have staff that don't speak English. We have staff that don't have iPods or phones. We have staff who are 22-year-olds and on Facebook and Instagram. And so we've had to build a user experience that fits all, that's extremely simple to use, and that looks like the software that you would choose to use at home. And that way we can get much better usage, and we can have staff buy into this change.
And it doesn't have a Comic Sans font, I would imagine, either, no?
No Comic Sans font. We can train with colors, and there's photos, and they can put emojis into each other. I mean, they're building a culture just as much as we are, and It's important that they enjoy using it.
So can you tell me a little more about how the guests can actually order drinks and other items poolside or beachside with that Alice app, or by texting the front desk? And also, equally, how do you avoid yet another pesky app download that would be deleted as soon as you check out? I mean, there is a bit of app fatigue at the moment. Has that been a challenge?
Just a bit. There's a lot of app fatigue. It's a massive challenge. I mean, it's why when we started as a guest app, the most important thing we ever did was pivoted to the staff side. Yeah. Because you're right. If you're at an independent hotel, it's very unlikely a guest wants to download your app. Now, we have the one and only brand. That's a 5-star resort on an island. You're there for 5 days. You're going to download their app, and you're going to use it to order food for you when you're on the golf course.
Sure.
Or we have an API that can plug into other brands' apps so that you can order drinks and you can ask for room service. And if you're already on their app, you can use it. But for all the rest of the hotels that don't fall in those two categories, that's where texting has been huge. And now we're integrating Facebook in, and eventually WeChat. And so that way we can allow hotels to communicate with the guest where they are, or whatever social media channel they're on, but simplify it for hotel staff so that they're just looking at one screen and they're receiving all of their communication in one place.
So do you think Alice is essentially changing the way hotels interact with all their guests, isn't it?
And with each other, right? We're getting rid of radio, we're getting rid of pen and paper, all these what we call analog tools that carry no data, no ability to analyze, and ultimately means the general manager can't sleep at night because they're worrying about what hasn't been done or what they don't know about.
So would you say that the customer experience in a hotel is actually the best marketing to actually influence the guest to return again?
I think it's the only experience, and it's not just in a hotel. I mean, we buy based on experience today. Even our generation wants to buy experiences, not even over goods and services. And so customer experience is your benchmark. I mean, if you look at TripAdvisor, you don't see any reviews that say, I had a wonderful booking experience and your booking engine is so great. What you see is, I had this unbelievable experience. The staff knew who I was. They celebrated my birthday. They left something on the pillow for me. All these micro instances where that you can wow the guest. And that's what a hotel is about. That's why you stay in an hotel over Airbnb, because of that service, because of that expectation that you're going to be looked after. And so if a hotel doesn't harness that, doesn't use that, and doesn't adapt to that, they're going to fall behind to the Airbnbs of this world and their own competition.
Now, you mentioned the wow factor there. It's something that I have noticed, that you get more and more technology creeping into hotel rooms as hotels are trying to, provide that wow factor. I mean, there's more and more iPads and phone docks appearing, isn't there?
No, yeah. I mean, only yesterday I saw an article come out from one of our clients, the Dream Hotel Group, where they have now Alexa and Alice in the room, which is quite funny because you have too many names of female names with the A. But you're always looking at ways to innovate and to wow the guest. We believe that's done through great service and done through exceptional understanding of who they are and being able to personalize their experience. And then you sometimes have gadgets like Alexa.
I think you're right there. You are always going to be looking at different ways to innovate and also continuously improve. So I've got to ask, how do you see Alice evolving over the next few years?
It's a great question, hopefully positively.
Yeah.
But in the absence of that, we just recently acquired a company called Go Concierge, who are the leading concierge provider on the market in the world, about 1,500 hotels. And they provide the best concierge software. So we're looking forward at integrating a lot of the tools they have into Alice, so we can provide a better experience to our front desk and our concierge on Alice already, as well as welcoming all their customers into the Alice family and giving them all the other tools that we provide, or offering them all the other tools we provide. And so Go Concierge is a large part of our next 6 months to 12 months. But then, beyond that and on the side, what we're looking at is how do you run the whole hotel, right? How do you provide the guest experience wherever they are? So we're spending a lot of time and energy in Facebook and in WeChat and in integrating what we'll call omni-channel messaging. We're spending a lot of time building the tools we don't have in the back of house so that our preventative maintenance is the best in the market, so that we can do room assignment and allow hotels to dispatch the right staff to the right place at the right time. And then we're looking a lot at our partnerships and how we can keep building our partnerships on the API. Just like you said earlier, those tablets in the rooms. Well, at the end of when a guest is on them, they need to send that request somewhere, and Alice is that somewhere. And so all the tablets and rooms can integrate into us, all the PMS companies can integrate into us. And so that way your entire hotel can be connected and your staff can look at one screen, not 5 screens.
Now, there is a rise in customer expectation there, like we mentioned, because everyone's just searching for the simplest way and easiest way of doing anything and the quickest way. So do you think that hotels that fail to take this kind of technology seriously could also quickly fall behind in the long run?
I think we've already seen that, right? If you look at the rise of the alternative accommodation sector and how it's impacted the lower end of the hotel market, people want a local experience. That doesn't mean they don't want a hotel experience. They just want a local experience as well. And so hotels that can adapt to the changes are the ones that do so successfully, right? If you look at how successful the boutique hotel movement has been, or the lifestyle hotel movement, and you've got Equinox opening hotels and Restoration Hardware opening hotels, the way we want to interact with hotels is always evolving. And the hotels that best keep up, both from a physical perspective as well as a technological perspective, are going to find competitive advantage there. They're going to see more repeat guests. They're going to understand their guests better. They're going to understand where their service can be improved. And they're going to know where to invest their money so that they can continue to be ahead of the competition.
So before I let you go, can you remind the listeners of where they can find out more information about Alice, and also how they can contact you guys? Because I've got a feeling there's going to be a lot of people listening thinking, I want to check this technology out. And if they're going to somewhere like New York City or somewhere where there's a lot of your rooms, is there any way that they can actually check where Alice is available?
Yes, of course. And so, well, first and foremost, for anyone on the hotel side who's listening, please come to our website. It's aliceapp.com. And I encourage you to sign up to our newsletter, because every 2 weeks we will write about the technologies we're seeing and try and give as much advice as we can on how to improve in the industry. If you're a guest, you're not going to download Alice. You're going to download the Hotels app. So, we're proud that we're powering the Hotels brand and not replacing it, right? And so, you won't be downloading Alice. We'll just be powering your experience, and you can thank us without knowing about it. But ultimately, we do a lot of content and we do a lot of writing. And so thank you for inviting us onto this, Neil. For those of you who are listening tomorrow, we're going to have a webinar on Thursday, actually, and you can find that on our website. And we're going to be talking about what's next for Alice, as well as showing a demo for those who haven't seen it. And reach out to us otherwise on our website.
Fantastic. Well, a huge thank you for coming on today, because there's a lot of talk at the moment about transforming the customer experience and, of course, the digital transformation as well. But what this really boils down to is just understanding and realising that guests use their mobile phones for almost everything now. And you guys seem to have really cottoned on to that quite early and making a big difference to that customer experience. So a big thank you for coming on and sharing your story today.
Yeah, well, thanks for having us. It's been a pleasure, and we're looking forward to growing our business in Europe and interacting with a lot of the listeners here.
I love how Alice messaging works wherever guests are, so they can text a request off property, such as on the beach or out skiing, to check if their room has finished being cleaned, or even just confirm a dinner reservation. But they are also continuously looking at improving everything that they do to fit their customers' needs. They've got enough self-awareness to realise that sometimes we just don't want another mobile app on our phone, so they're using SMS and also looking at using Facebook or WeChat. It's all about where the customer is and what makes it easier for them. Now, considering that it's much easier to keep repeat customers happy than win new customers, I don't think it's going to be long before all hotels start taking this technology very seriously. Maybe they already are. I mean, with Amazon Echo, iPads, smartphone music docks, and various other tech appearing in rooms now to provide the wow factor, I think it's going to be interesting where this leads. But what the guys at Alice are doing, they're not focusing on gadgets to offer that wow factor, but they're removing all of their customers' biggest gripes. And that's what makes this special in my eyes. But what about you guys and dolls listening? What are your top hotel gripes? And equally, do you have a wow factor that blew you away recently that you would like to share with me today? As always, tweet me at Neil C. Hughes or email me at techblogwriter@outlook.com. I'd love to hear and share your stories on here, so please keep them coming. However, it's time for me to sign off now, so all that's left for me to say is thanks for listening, and until next time, don't be a stranger.
Thanks for listening to the Tech Blog Writer Podcast. Until next time, remember, technology is best when it brings people together.